Hello, everyone. I just want to welcome everyone to our new YouTube channel. This one is for returning citizens, and I just want to say in the very beginning, welcome back. It's going to be, a very long road for you. You're going to have some struggles along the way, and I want to encourage you to find a good church if you haven't already, and have the support of someone within the church or some friends to support you and hold you accountable for things so you can continue the right path according to what God has you do. I want to read something real quick. It is from John chapter 8, verse 36, and a lot of you might be familiar with this. And we apply this to our lives in many different ways, but because I'm talking to returning citizens and those who are involved with helping prisoners, um, it says in John 8:36 from the New International Version. So, if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed. It's a short verse, but it says a lot of things. Now, and of course, in that case, they were talking about a spiritual freedom, but also, if the Lord has set you free from prison, He set you free. This is an opportunity for you to shine. It's an opportunity for you to work on things in your life, to become a testimony to others. And it is a time for you to be a witness on how God was with you while you were in prison, and how He can help you now. I want to encourage everyone. My name is Richard, and I've been in and out of jails and prisons and psychiatric institutions most of my life, and I know what it's like to have freedom and ruin it. I know what it's like to be given opportunities and ruin it. When you get out, how tough it is to be able to make it and to continue your freedom, and also not realizing how to get the help that you need and the support that you need to continue your freedom. Freedom is difficult once you have a felony. People will give you a hard time, and a lot of you will stay with friends or family to try to avoid some of the dilemmas and problems you will acquire because of your past. However, throughout time, the more you seek God and the more that you want God, the more that things that God will give you. We have to work out those things with people, and it's just like anything else in this world. If you've messed up and done things in your life to cause people to not trust you, then it takes time to fix that. It takes time for people to understand. And I'm going to tell you right now that there are going to be people that just never will forgive you, and you have to learn to move on because you've done your part in changing your life. Don't let others bring you down. A lot of you will have victims. A lot of you will have people in your lives that you've let down and hurt. And some of them will never see the change in you or even care about the changes that you've made in your life because you hurt them. And you're going to have to deal with that. You'll have to deal with the pain in your heart, but it is also a good thing. That pain that you're feeling, that conviction you're feeling in your heart for the things that you've done wrong, is actually empathy for others. And you'll hear this on a lot of things if you're in groups that are requirements for you um, as prisoners, or should I say ex-prisoners. You're a returning citizen. A lot of you are going to be on parole. You may not see this until after you're off parole. But if you're able to see this while you're on parole, this is my plea to you. Make your parole officer your friend. If you're having problems, talk to your parole officer. They can help you. They've seen a lot of things come through their office that are a lot worse than you in many cases. And they have witnessed people get treatment and get better, and they've witnessed people go back to prison. And they will be able to help you in some way. Listen to them. Do what they ask you to do. It's not an easy thing to do. But trust them. Don't look at them as people that are going to hurt you. Don't look at them and be afraid of them. Use them as a tool to guide your life and to re-enter society, because believe it or not, it is a challenge to enter into a society that doesn't accept you right now. It can be very, very traumatic. Very traumatic. And for some of you who've been in for years and years and years, come out to many things that have changed. Technology, you don't understand it. It's hard for you to adjust to it. And many of you have lost most of your family and don't have that support anymore. And many of you, most of you have lost just about everything. And I'm telling you that freedom doesn't sometimes seem like freedom. But if you want to feel it, pray to God to give you strength. Pray to God to give you the understanding and wisdom to be able to survive today. But I can't stress enough, your parole officer is your friend. Your parole officer, in most cases, wants to see you succeed. Yes, there are some of those that are a little bit mean and stern and strict, but that's good for you. Because you need structure, because you have been used to structure and things being a certain way. You can't just come out and have all that freedom. You have to have some structure and rules so you can abide by them and slowly integrate yourself back into society with structure. And structure in life is a good thing. Set aside time for God. Pray all the time. Whatever you say and do it for God. And if you can't, then you know that it's not the right thing to do. If you're struggling and in pain and it's hard to reach out to God, then that's why you have your friends there from the church. And I really can't stress that enough. Going to church and having church friends is something that you will need. You will need it. You'll need that encouragement. So, as returning, I welcome you. Yes, it is going to be hard, but you are free. God has sent you to your next level of what He wants for you. You may not see it right now. You may not see the things that God has planned for you or in store for you, but be encouraged and trust me that God has a plan for you. A person like myself who spent most of his life locked up, and even today I still struggle with trying to trust God that He has a plan for me. I'm 46 years old. It is hard for me to believe that God has something for me after all these years of screwing up my life in and out of prisons. And in most of those cases, while I was in prisons, I would rededicate my life to the Lord. But as soon as I got that freedom, I didn't know what to do with myself. And I didn't have that support before. But this time while I was in prison, I clung to it. I knew I needed to do something about it. And when I got out, I made a conscious decision to stick with people that cared about me. So it is very important that you have friends to hold you accountable, friends you can go to and talk to. And the more you have, the better. Get a hold of a church. Not just the counseling service, but you can have a counseling service. That's fine too, because that's a bridge that we can use to help guide us and be able to talk to people and get it all out of our system. I encourage you too, if you have counseling. I know that in prison it's different. It's harder to talk about your feelings without repercussions in your unit. But you're not in there anymore. The only way that you're going to feel free is to lay it all out on the table. Because at this point you're free. You know, if you have, my problem was admitting that I was gay and admitting those things. But just because I was gay doesn't mean that I wasn't a Christian. And let me explain that. The first step in helping yourself is admitting your problems and admitting not only to God, but to other people. I hid who I was for years and how I felt about the same sex. I hid that. And we all know in prison that wasn't acceptable in there either, so I couldn't tell anybody there. And since I had spent most of my life locked up, I had hid it and hid it and hid it. And because in my generation it wasn't acceptable, there was nobody I could even tell then. However, I can't stress enough. You know, like I said, there's a lot of alcoholics that are Christians, right? Doesn't mean they're drinking. Okay, well, if I'm gay, it doesn't mean I'm having sex with men. Doesn't mean I'm with a man. Doesn't mean that I'm actively participating in those things. It just means that I accepted that. And I'm moving forward with that. I'm refraining from doing those things. There are lots of other things that God is helping with besides that, but that was one of my main issues. So I encourage you. You don't have to lay all this out to your parole agent, but yes, you can. I mean, it depends on where you are with God and what they believe to be a good thing. But I suggest that the counselor that you see or whatever, whoever it may be, or your pastor, to just lay it all out on the table. So that way you have it out and you have told the truth and no one can come back at you because you've already put it out there. I've put everything out there and where the whole world can see it on here on YouTube. So what can anybody come back at me and say that I haven't already said here? So like I said, I encourage you to do that. That first, because that is the hardest thing that we have to do, is being able to confess everything and lay it bare on the table for others. God, it's already laid bare before Christ. It's already laid bare before God. It's quite another to be laid bare for us in front of other people. That takes a lot of courage and takes a lot of guts for you to be able to do that. But if you want a good walk with Christ and want to be able to help other people, then it's better for them to hear it from you than to hear it from others. Because no matter what, they're still going to hear it from others, but at least you said it first. So I just encourage you, to remember this. Those who have, it's said here, so if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed. There's a lot of things you're going to have to do. I welcome you back. And I pray that when you see this, that you'll get a better understanding of the things that you need to do when you are free. There's going to be it's going to seem like everybody's rejecting you and you're going to be discouraged. It's going to be hard to find a job. It's going to be hard to get a place to live, and it all depends on the type of crime that you have as well. Some people it'll be easier for. Other people it'll be very hard for. I'm not going to name those crimes. It doesn't make a difference what the crime is, because in God's eyes we're free. But in the world's eyes, We're criminals. We can't be trusted. But as Christians, that's why I say go to your church, because they can help you. All I can say is just be aware of those things, that things aren't going to be easy and people aren't going to be accepting of that thing. And matter of fact, they're not even going to tell you that that's why they're not going to hire or why they're not going to give you a place to live. They'll make up some other excuses, but you'll know why in reality. But I don't want to make this too long. I just wanted to welcome everyone to back into society, and I want to encourage everyone who are volunteers and who are of the church, also to teach and instruct those that are prisoners when they come to you with things. I also encourage you not to push them to do things that you think is what they should do. Ask them what they want. Ask them how you can help them. Don't make them fit into what you think is right. Just be patient with them. Love them. Do what you feel from your heart that you should do for them without pushing things on them. What they need the most is support. What they need the most is people to understand, and mostly an ear. And know that someone is listening to them and encouraging them. If they call you in the middle of the night, let them talk to you. Because sometimes that's when they're feeling something and they need you. Reach out in love to people that are returning, and just be patient with them. Encourage them, and the most part, this is what helped me, and I know that it did, because I wouldn't be on here right now, because recently I had problems and there were bad thoughts in my head that I wanted to do to myself, and you just don't come out of that, especially when you're not doing anything to try to help yourself. Prayer works for people. And when you're sincere praying to God for you can intercede for them. You can intercede for them by praying to God and asking God to help find a way out when there seems no way out. Because a lot of times returning citizens do not know how to pray and do not know what they need, because things have changed so much and they can't deal with the pressure, that they need someone to do it for them. They need someone to pray for them. And then God gives them wisdom. God touches their heart and they have a release that wasn't there before. A comfort. Some sort of thing that just kind of pours over our hearts to help us understand it's going to be okay. The most important thing that you'll ever do for a returning citizen, or anyone for that matter, is to pray. Pray, pray, pray. And then the second thing is listen. Listen to them. Do not force things on them. Do not tell them we're going to go here and we're going to do this. You can make suggestions, but do not force it on them. Ask them. 3 is just ask them what they want. And then if there's something that maybe you feel that maybe that's not appropriate or whatever, meet them in the middle. Schedule times to see them and to talk to them. And that showing them that you're interested in them. And that still happens to me to this day. So, and I want to thank all of those volunteers ahead of time for looking out for returning citizens. I also want to thank the volunteers who's a part of the ministry of reaching out to those in prison to help guide them and love them before they're released. because they needed that, which helps prepare them and helps grow them in the Lord so they can help be strong before they enter a society that seems to be falling apart, and that they can be encouraged no matter what the cases are outside of prison. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for being so supportive. My heart goes out to those of you returning. I still struggle with things, so be ready to put on the good fight of faith and be prepared and pray and allow God to work in your life as a living testimony. Don't forget to continue in His Word and be strong in the Lord. Okay? I don't have anything else for you at this time, but this is just an introduction to returning citizens. And I thank everyone who participates in this and who puts things on here, or who wants things on here. And just get with me if you have something a video that you want to put on here, or some words of encouragement, and we can go from there. And I'll subscribe to it, or whatever I need to do, or you can send me the video via email, and I will post the video on here for others to see. We're going to work this out so we can get the videos on here, because it seems to work out better that way. If you have some things to say, we can share things. We can share scripture. We can share books that have inspired us. We can share a poem. We can actually offer up help from other people. If you have something, let's say there's a video, someone makes a video that's an employer that says he'll hire people and give people a chance. Well, we can put that video on here too. Just send me an email or something. If you know me and you know my email, or you know how to message me or get a hold of me and you want to do that, I strongly encourage that as well. We're going to make this work. I also have a Facebook for returning citizens, so we'll check that out too, and I'll post these things on Facebook as well.